Hello and welcome back to the Linux Panic YouTube channel. This is video 3 of my Retro Rescue series. Remember how we did this thing last time? Well, we're doing this thing this time round. But the first thing I'd like to do is thank my channel members. Von Garden, Mislav, Gisillo, Hopkins von Rebetarius, and The Storm with a 0. And also Prince Oda to very long German name. I'm still butchering your name, mate, I'm sorry. But yes, we're going to do this thing this time around. So first things first is we're going to quickly lay you down and go through the many charging cables that I now have for these laptops. If I remember correctly, it's going to be this one here. What I'm going to be using today is a Dell Inspiron. We won't be quite taking it apart due to the fact that my tripod is downstairs and I'm not. First thing I'm going to do is just quickly plug this in and then plug in the other end. The other end is plugged into the other monitor and turn that off. So we're going to just quickly lift to that there, move, and as we can see here, as we can see here, we have a battery light, which means if I grab my sacrificial battery charger, well, not sacrificial battery charger, if we open this up, what we have here is a Dell Inspiron laptop running initially Windows Vista and with an Intel Celeron on the side. It's a relatively newer one. I've been cleaning today, as you can tell. Relatively newer Intel Celeron due to the fact of the logo design, but however still has S-video on the side, so going to be an interesting combination. So first things first, do that and it instantly fires up. Well, that's a surprise. And it has Windows 10 on it. What? I was told when I got these laptops that there would be no drives in them. I didn't authenticate that. What? Well, I can hear the sound of a screaming SATA drive. Okay, whilst we wait for this to do, hold that. Okay. As expected. Let me just try the usual. Okay. Apparently it wants to hibernate. Apparently this one's dying. The battery's dying on the camera, so let's hope we can get this done. So, what we have here is a Dell Inspiron, which is somehow still alive, now dead. What we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, take the battery out. So take the battery out and load Linux on, well, boot Linux from it. The reason why I say boot Linux is because this thing is dying, my camera's dying, and I forgot to charge it, so we're having to kind of rush this. So, power on, smack delete, hope to hell it's going to work. Nope, unplug, replug, F2. And it's up. Good. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to come down to none of these, because none of these exit. F10 maybe? No. Oh, Lord. F10 maybe? So it's F12, okay. See, I remember having a Dell Inspiron years ago. I gotta say, these keyboards on these things are wonderful. Right, okay, so USB storage device. There we go. So, graphical install of Debian. Yes, please. Seeing as I can't access any of the Linux or any of the Windows, and I'm not about to try and recover someone else's personal data, we're going to flatten it. Debian 11, as this is the one that I personally installed on my own computer. United Kingdom, British English. I'm going to find that this is running much faster than I thought it would. Oops. There we go. Sorry about that. Just realised it wasn't in focus. Whilst we wait, we will have a quick sip of tea. I got tea with me for today. And also, I've just realised I can plug in networking to this because one really long ass Ethernet cable. That's slightly trapped. This has a RJ45 and an RJ11. Apparently. So yes, missing firmware files are no. Firmware can be loaded from. We'll go with no. And for this being a laptop as old as it is, this is performing much better than I thought it would. I don't ever remember a Dell Inspiron working this well. I will be perfectly honest. We will call this Dell. No domain name. We don't need to mess around with any of the FQDN. We're just going to go with Dell, 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 Dell. For the purpose of this, we're just going to go Dell. And this is installing much better than I thought it was going to. Underneath the battery compartment, there is a SD card slot as well. The battery that came with this is a... you'll just take my word on it because this won't focus. This has a 80GB SATA drive. This is a Dell battery module, 41 watt hour capacity. And considering the fact it won't barely hold a charge, god damn, this is why we're running straight off power. Finish partitioning. Yes, right changes. I love the fact you don't need a mouse to actually install Debian, because I've not yet once had to touch the mouse, except for, well, I haven't actually needed to touch the mouse at all, but this is going pretty well. On the front there is one microphone jack, two headphone jacks. They both have the headphone symbol, and I'm assuming at least one of them's a line in. There is a SD card slot on the front. This has Bluetooth and wireless. Bluetooth is always nice to have on a laptop, no matter how old it is. There appears to be a smart card or PC MCIA slot of some sort, as well as a disk drive. If I give that a quick tap. Disk drive. As well as on the left hand side we have what appears to be a mini FireWire, one HDMI, one RJ11 telephone jack, one RJ45 Ethernet, one VGA, two USBs on the left. On the right there is another two USBs, an S-Video, disk drive as mentioned, and a PC MCIA slot. You know, for this being an old laptop, this has more... How have we gone backwards? This has more capabilities and more expandability than modern systems. Make it make sense. It doesn't. It really don't. And that's the part that annoys me the most, because it really should make more sense, but it doesn't. And for this being a laptop as old as it is, running a 80GB hard drive, yes, SATA hard drive, and running on a Dell Celeron, the fact, well, an Intel Celeron, the fact it's nearly already halfway done is a miracle within itself. There we go, sorry about that. When I rested the camera back down, it was laying on the camera strap instead of just the desk and the camera battery charger. So let's give a quick zoom in and refocus. There we go. Now you don't see the lines on, well, you kind of do see the lines on screen from how I focused it, and I know a little bit, the top bit's washed out colour wise because of the viewing angles. It looks like I have to be straight on with it, but then again, the black on Debian does look pretty good. I gotta give it that. I gotta give it that. So whilst we wait for this to install, we can talk about what we could install on this and what we can do with this thing. Now, because this has Debian going on it, I can use it as a test bed for various Debian software or Deb-based software. So anything that allegedly runs on Ubuntu will also run on this, such as Rhino package, Wine will run on bloody anything these days. This could also be used for war driving as well, if you know what that is. I like the idea of war driving. This could also be used for just web servicing, or a web server. I could turn this into literally anything, but of course this has to be then torn down and looked into proper on how it's going to live and perform. We could also try and see if it will work with my trusty Steam controller. Believe it or not, I actually have one of these things with its dongle. Having a Steam controller nowadays with their dongles is a miracle within themselves. So the fact that I got one of them is a pretty damn good thing. And just seeing a Steam controller out in the wild nowadays, that is a that's within itself. So we will have to put this thing through its paces, considering the fact that this was Windows 10 and it originally shipped with Vista. Shows that it's been used for quite a while. We'll have to see what the specs are actually reported as once we're done. I don't know when this stopped recording. Can't be too long. So, as I was trying to say, this shipped initially with a Windows Vista operating system. It had Windows 10. There's plenty of stuff that can be done with it. We can install any Deb-based software, as previously mentioned. So, Rhino package, for example, Wine will install on anything, this included. There is also the potential for just running it as a web server, or using it to run my Zabbix instance instead of one of my Pis, which is currently going the way of the dodo and dying. Whilst we wait, we must hydrate. We're going to have a sip of our coffee, tea even. Now, the fact that this has more expandability and expansion than modern, well, relatively speaking, modern laptops and computers these days is absolutely bloody infuriating. It's like, why is this better than newer hardware? Like, come on, explain yourself. This even has a nicer keyboard. Like, the keyboard on this thing is bloody glorious to use. Like, it's so smooth, like, feels nice under the fingers. You can type pretty damn quick with it. I have memories of using this keyboard from years ago, and it's a bloody good keyboard. One of the things I was surprised about when I opened it up, there was an SD card slot underneath the battery. Now, whether that's meant to be a host OS, where it's supposed to run host OS, or run an operating system from that, or just like as an extra expansion slot, why it was underneath the battery bay that you have to remove every time you want to use it, is beyond me. I don't quite know. But now we're reaching the end of the installation of Debian. We've only got a little bit to do. It's just going to configure. The system, keyboard, and just finishing off now. There's like not even 5% left. It's just doing the console, configuring apt. You're missing installing DVD image. Let's go for yes, United Kingdom. Want to do FTP UK Debian? No. Configure apt. Reason why I say FTP, the UK Debian FTP, it was just quicker. I found I get stuff faster from the UK one than I do from the US one. I found that even when I was in the US. I don't quite know why. Unfortunately, it is what it is, really. It's a weird one. It is a weird one, I'll give you that. So this now needs to go through the process of select and install software. I don't know what that means, but it's retrieving 33 files. Which again, the limiting factor is not the internet, it's the capabilities of this thing. And also the server on the other end of this, because this has got to go through this and then down to wherever the server is based. And that could be quite a fair distance. But then again, I don't know. So we have to... oh lord, there's M curses. There's N curses, there's System D. We recently completed and had booted a Linux from scratch System D system. Although when I say booted, we got it booted, only we have to change which drive it's booting from every single time, even though the grub config is correct and the boot config is correct. I don't know why. So that is for people like Pancake Sparkle to help with on the next stream, which will be again Saturday, normal time. For this, we've just got to sit and wait. Hopefully this isn't going to take too long, however, because the camera is not happy with me at the minute, so I'm just going to stop the recording and then resume once we're done. I've just come back upstairs. I have to get myself another cup of coffee because I finished my tea and it looks like we're just about done. No, I don't want to join the popularity contest. Come on, hurry up. So now this is just going to hopefully finish off installing. No to the gnome. Give me cinnamon, please, thanks. Thank you. We always say no to gnome because gnome is bad. Remember that. If we can't make it look like Windows XP, it's not worth looking at all. So now we've just got to wait for it to retrieve all of the software that it needs. So we will return once it's done that. So this has taken much longer than I thought it would. But we'll find that grub. Yes, we'll use grub as my primary boot drive. Yes, we'll do that. I will get grub to install, and hopefully, I do mean hopefully, this won't be taking too much longer, because this has taken quite a fair chunk of time. It's nearly taken me 2 hours to get this done. Well, it's nearly taken me, well, so we're past an hour already. I'm on my second hot drink already. I started with a cup of tea, I'm now on a cup of coffee. And the cup of coffee is drinkable, which means we're getting through it relatively quickly. Installation media is incomplete, so remove the installation media so that they can boot into the new system. Right, okay, so click continue. And now hopefully, rebooting into your new system, rip out the initial drive, adjust that to there. What we should have here is a Debian GNU system. Now hopefully, and I do mean hopefully, this won't take too long, because bearing in mind it did have Windows 10 on it previously, and you saw how quickly it was to boot to that. That was insanely fast, like right on it, and it was pretty dang good. So now we've just got to wait for this to do. Error, you must go to wireless for the wireless drivers, for firmware for that. Well, it's fine because it's plugged into Ethernet. And now we just have to sit and hopefully not wait too long, because it's tell Plymouth to write out runtime data, activating swap by UUID. A start job is running, there we go. So this is taking a bit longer than I thought it would, bearing in mind it is on a 80 gigabyte SATA drive. So first off, it's on a weird sized drive because it's 80 gigabytes, so that's a weird one to begin with. Secondly, is old. Going back to Windows Vista days, so I imagine that drive has never ever been replaced. I'll confirm that before we finish, but I imagine that drive has never once been replaced in its entire life. But there's the cursor, and what we're going to do is just quickly log in. So Dell, woof, that's hot. Dell and Dell, wonderful keyboard, feels very nice. And what we want to do here is once we get somewhere, come on, my friend, come on, hurry up, you'll be okay, come on. Yes, I know I'm talking to it, but there we go. Okay, so terminal. Oof, that does not like that. Terminal, and what we're going to do now is sudo -i Dell bother su hyphen sudo. Okay, what we want to do now is allow members to root privileges. Come here, Dell all equals all and all. Control X Y, enter. Exit sudo apt install neovirtual. Yes, I will quite happily take the 725 kilobytes worth of additional size. We then do that. So this is taking its time, which is understandable, and we want to just do and here we have it. This is the Dell laptop. It is an old boy. It is a Intel Celeron 550 running at just shy of 2 GHz with singular core. It is a Intel Mobile GM 965 or 960, whichever one it's presenting to be. So what we're going to do now is we're going to quickly stop, rep out the drive, well, try and see what the drive is, and then call it there. So bear with me. So I'm not able to take it apart without potentially stripping the screws, which I don't want to do. We are just going to do a quick check. We'll check it in the boot menu, shall we? So I hope escape gives me something. It does not. Probably absolutely killing the drive whilst doing this. Come on. There we go. Ooh, I saw some snow on the screen. Right, BIOS version 2009, which means this has probably never ever been updated. So it is a surprise that this is still running. It is a 1280 by 800 display and 80GB hard drive. Battery not installed yet for good reason. For good reason. Boot sequence, onboard devices. Yeah. So yes, it is very much the old. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you disliked the video, hit the dislike button. Remember, it's an old laptop. What's to download? Maybe I'd also, well, before we do that, I'd like to thank Ray from Katy, Texas once again for helping me on buymeacoffee.com as well as Mislav. Anyway, you guys are all awesome. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, when you use Linux, don't panic, unlike this thing here. Right, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.